My name is Brad Chad Porter. I'm the general manager at Rodeo Cinema. I want to talk to you for a few seconds about the Rodeo Cinema Foundation membership program. Rodeo Cinema is Oklahoma City's only nonprofit movie house. We depend on your support beyond your tickets and concessions purchases to keep the lights on and to continue bringing you outstanding film programming. We ask you to consider becoming a member. There are several memberships to choose from, with prices ranging from $50 per year to $5,000 per year. Check out your options at rodeocinema.org/memberships. Thank you in advance for your support.
What up, sports fans? Happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast presents Sports Breakers. I'm one of your hosts, Juan. I'm joined with the other guy, Craig.
The other guy? That's my name now? Hold on. Let me change it. I didn't know I was the other guy now.
We're going to have to come up, over on the movie side of things. We have the cast, the crew. We need to see what we're going to call each other. Are we going to be the coaches? We can be the predictors. I like the predictors.
The gamers.
The gamers.
The gamblers.
I think we kind of caught on to something. We could change this podcast to the predictors. We predict.
The Nostradamuses.
Anyway, man, it's been almost a full month since we had a little episode, but that full month has swung by, went super quick. And now guess what? It's officially college football week. Week 0 is literally days away. How are you feeling?
Goosebumps now that we're talking. Like you said, it's here and it's this week, and hair stood up on the back of my neck. It feels like you have this long, treacherous journey of summertime, and you're like, I want to enjoy summertime. It's hot. I wish it was a little colder, but it's still summertime. And then finally, it's here, week 0. We get a little taste.
It's an appetizer weekend.
But you still get a good game Saturday at 11 with Florida State and Georgia Tech. I think SMU plays somebody. So, I mean, there's one pretty good game. The rest of them are kind of so you get Florida State, Georgia Tech, Montana State, New Mexico, SMU, Nevada, Delaware State, Hawaii. A game per block the whole day. So at least
that's all you need. It's the appetizer before next week's main course.
And games honestly start next Thursday. So a pretty full slate starting at 5:00 next Thursday with some pretty, there's a couple top 25 teams in there. NC State, Missouri, Kansas, and Utah all have a game that night. And then Friday,
don't the Sooners play?
You got Oklahoma next Friday. So it's here. It's super close. You can start to taste the football in the air.
I can taste the leather.
It's a tangible feeling when football comes around. Like it's completely different than anything else, except for the finals. The finals have a feeling in the air when you're a part of it, but just to have football around and knowing that it's around, you have a completely different feel and vibe to everything, and it's the best time of year, especially like leading up to week 1. And week 1 in itself, having that 3-day weekend, is one of the best 5-day stretches in the whole year.
Man, whole year, he says. Jam-packed show for you guys today. Not only we're going to predict the college football games this week, we'll talk some preseason football. The Olympics finished up. Other than that, man, I think we're just counting down the days, the hours. We can talk to you for a little bit, too, about Madden if you want. Madden just released this past week. We had a huge episode on NCAA College Football 25. It came out on a Friday. I think we talked about it that Friday night. Or no, it came out on a Wednesday. If you
It came out on a Monday for
there
me.
you go. Man, okay, me too. Came out on a Monday. We talked about it, I believe, on a Thursday. So go back and listen to that episode if you want. But tonight, man, it's it. Before we get into anything though, let's talk some NFL preseason action. Um, we had a conversation over messaging a few days ago. For those of you that don't know, and I want to talk to you about this because I kind of feel the same way. You said in the message that the preseason just wasn't getting it for you, like, and
Yeah, I mean,
I think I'll go first. I think the way they've changed everything up, Herm Edwards said it perfect too a few days ago. Herm Edwards, and if you guys don't know, man, if you're listening to this and you're just like a newcomer to sports or you're just in today's generation of football, I enjoyed watching Herm Edwards talk on NFL Live back in the day. He had his own radio show. He was also on like Sunday NFL Countdown. So I don't see him that much anymore. But man, Herm Edwards said football players get paid to play football. I guess there was talk about Aaron Rodgers sitting out 3 days in a row of practice just because there was rain at Jets minicamp or Jets camp. And I guess that rubbed Herm Edwards the wrong way. And he was like, man, last time I checked, football players get paid to play football. And I wanted to bring this up to you because nowadays it feels like from July to September, the first week of September, it's like, man, if you have a multi-million-dollar contract or if you're just the guy, you're lucky if you get 15 reps in 2 months.
yeah, I mean,
When is enough enough? Like, I kind of agree with him. Like, you're getting paid millions of dollars. Like, there's no such thing of you should be in mid-season form. Like, it takes October to November. That's how some teams miss the playoffs.
yeah. If there's any particular people I would give a pass to sitting out like Aaron Rodgers did, it's him.
I would agree.
And maybe a couple other quarterbacks that I can't think of off the top of my head. I think Trevor Lawrence is coming back from injury. Justin Herbert.
Oh, hold on a second. Speaking of injury, though, Joe Burrow is coming back from injury, but he played 3 to 4 series in the last Bengals preseason game.
It all depends on where you're at, comfortability wise. I mean, it's all give or take on what the staff feels, but
I didn't agree with Dak Prescott. They're not letting him play 1 ounce of preseason live football. I don't agree with that.
You essentially go into week 1 cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now if he goes out and throws 2 picks and they don't beat Cleveland week 1, that proved nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the NFL is trying to take what the NBA is doing and load management, which that's a bunch of BS.
Are they afraid of people getting hurt and ticket sales and TV ratings going down? Like, at the end of the day, this isn't, I mean, come on.
I mean, for Aaron Rodgers, yes.
I agree.
We all saw what happened with the Jets last year.
I agree with Aaron Rodgers. He's one of those players that I don't think needs the reps, especially if it's super rainy and wet. Guess what? If he slips on that grass, tears it again, he's done for.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
However, on the flip side of that, if you don't strain it and you don't work it, and it's going to be weak from the get-go anyway when you're going in live to playing.
And week 1, they have the 49ers.
Yeah.
So what if it's raining week 1? Is he not going to play?
Are you going to hold him out? Yeah.
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 And all these new facilities, the Jets have a new multi-billion-dollar stadium. Do they not have an indoor practice facility that they can just hold practice on the inside? Come on.
You would think, but
I don't know. But preseason, I agree with you. The way the NFL is treating preseason, it's not doing it for me this year either.
No. I mean, it's cool to kind of get out there and see a few people, but it's like the other main thing is it's on NFL Network, and it's just a hassle to get to it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have to go here. I got to log in. You can't just flick on the TV, which we don't have cable anyway, but I can't go to simply the games that were on Fox, I watched, or ESPN, but the games that have that extra layer, I looked at it and I'm like,
So I'm a YouTube TV subscriber. I think it's pretty simple. It was $64.99. You get like 100 something channels.
Don't
Not
plug them.
not bad. But since they are now the exclusive NFL Sunday ticket holder, dude, they went up to $74.99 a month. And the other day, Dallas's first preseason game was blacked out for some god awful reason.
Because you were in the region.
And I went to Fox to thinking it was on Fox. It wasn't on any local channels. And I'm like, how dumb is that? And
Yeah.
then week 2, they played Vegas, but it's a 10 o'clock Eastern game, so it was like 9 o'clock here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes no sense.
Well, I mean, with the whole blackout thing, isn't that a part of why the franchises are having to pay like $20 million or something because they're purposefully blacking out games that shouldn't be blacked out?
Yeah, they're supposed to black out the Arlington area so you can go to the game. Not, I mean, we don't. You know what? That's so stupid that
Yeah.
it's a regional blackout.
Yeah. But blacking out a game period is stupid in my opinion. You're a city that is essentially paying, like here for the Thunder. If they were to black out a game here, which I think they have done, but I can't, one doesn't come to mind. We're paying for that stadium.
Yep.
With our taxes. So why are you blacking out a game that they're paying it, that they're playing in what we paid for?
Yep.
There's no reason that anything should be blacked out regionally. If you can't get ticket sales, that's on you for putting out a bad product.
Yeah.
People should die to want to go to your game.
Yep.
And if you're not doing that, you're doing something wrong, and you need to check it at the door of your facility instead of forcing people to have to come to your game that don't want to go to your game because it's a product that they don't want to pay for any more than they do for the freaking cable.
I agree. And I also think that if it's a local team, then the game should be on local channels. It should, like, even if it's a TNT national televised game, you should be able to go to a local TV network and watch like a different viewing of it.
And luckily, I think the Thunder are going that route. They started doing Friday night games locally on TV. I think they were testing it out to see how they could handle it. I'm not 100% caught up on what they're doing this year, but I agree. If it's a team and it's local for you, it should be broadcast locally on
Free
whatever
TV.
channel. Yep, 100%.
Yep.
You want this team to be here and for us to support them. Make it viewable for everybody in the area. Blacking out games is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And people wonder why they watch streams on VPNs or go to certain sites and watch them illegally. I'm trying to watch the freaking team in my state that I paid for their stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You shouldn't have to even go down to a local bar just to watch them.
100%.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb. Again, NFL preseason has kicked off. Let's talk a few teams that maybe have like surprised you. Is there any teams that? And I know 3-0, 2-0. It's not common, but let's remember that the 2016 Detroit Lions went 4-0 and they lost every regular season game.
You want to know what team has surprised me?
The Bears?
No. For all the wrong reasons, the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have Russell Wilson, who, yes, is on like a $1.5 million contract because the Broncos are atrocious at dealing with contracts.
Yeah.
But you have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and you can't score a touchdown.
Now, I'm going to try to play Pittsburgh Steeler fan here, even though I'm not. I watched him the other day, and I don't agree with the switcheroo. So week 1, they went Russell 1 series, Fields 1 series. They went back and forth like that. Week 2, I think Russell played the entire first quarter, Fields played the entire second and third quarter, and then they didn't even play the fourth quarter. So
yeah.
You can't. I still feel like you can't get a grasp on anybody doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, it's like you got. So if let me go. Hold on. They have scored 15 points and they've gotten 30 put on them. 29. You're telling me, yeah, you're telling me that Cleveland Browns, New England Patriots, with their quarterback situation, are able to put up double what you put up. Dolphins, Jets, it's all good systems there.
Now I like the Steelers. I really do. I like Mike Tomlin.
I love Mike Tomlin.
I like the juice that he's feeding everybody down there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They're doing really good as far as like going out and spending a little bit of money and getting some people back from it. I heard they're also in contention for the who's it, the receiver from uh
Ayuk.
yeah. I heard they're in contention for that trade if that happens. Week 1, if they lose to the Falcons in Atlanta, I think you gotta. I don't know what you do, but I think Russell Wilson has to start Week 1 at least for now. We talked about this a few weeks ago when we did the AFC
Yeah.
the AFC North breakdown, but I think Russell Wilson has to start Week 1.
You have to start on just purely based on the fact that he's been in big situations.
Yeah.
Make him prove that he can't do it.
Yeah.
If he proves that he can't do it, then you go to Justin Fields, who has plenty of time on his contract and is able to grow in that system and could possibly be your future. But I agree, you have to start Russell Wilson to see if his ability to hit that ceiling has already been proven. See if he can hit that ceiling in your system. If not, go to Justin Fields. If this season is a failure for the Pittsburgh Steelers, yes, I know Tomlin hasn't had a losing season. Did they have one last year? Or did they squeeze by?
They squeezed by. The year before that, they missed the playoffs, but they still technically had a winning season.
I know Tomlin, like you said, okay, so yes, if Tomlin didn't have a losing season last year, if they have a losing season this year, it'll be his first one. And I know this sounds ridiculous because I do think Mike Tomlin is still a very good coach. I think that Pittsburgh and him should mutually part ways, and he needs to start somewhere fresh because I still think he can coach. I still think he's a really good head coach. He's very much of the CEO archetype where, he's kind of hands off and lets his coordinators do what they need to do. But you have a losing season in Pittsburgh. It's obvious that things are kind of stalling there for him. I think it's time they both start a new chapter in their lives.
I also think I wanted to bring this up. Of course, we got to talk a little Dallas Cowboys. What the hell is Jerry Jones doing with CeeDee Lamb?
Man wants to pay Dak Prescott all the money in the world, but he won't pay any of his receivers. And you wonder why Des Bryant leaves, CD, Terrence Williams,
Michael Gallup.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay Zeke. Then you go with Tony Pollard. You have I'm not going to say terrible, but your rushing game is almost cut in half.
Well, no, I'm going to say terrible because I feel like if we have Zeke or somebody to that stature, we score a few times extra against Miami. We probably have first round throughout the entire playoffs. We don't play a hungry Green Bay team week 1 in the playoffs. I don't know. But all I'm saying is
a lot of stuff can change.
Yeah, you got to pay CD. You do not make the playoffs in Dallas without him. Pay the guy or it's just going to tank. If you don't pay him, you're not going to pay Prescott next year. You feed Micah Parsons and then you just restart all over on offense next year.
No, I mean if you don't pay CD, you've already shown that you are not as committed as you think you are to this team.
Yep.
By not signing a decent running back, and I think they had a very good shot at Derrick Henry.
They had a very good shot. Derrick Henry has a house in Arlington.
You had a very good shot at DeAndre Hopkins, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly. you had a very good shot at a lot of pieces in the last couple off seasons.
They let Stephon Gilmore become a free agent, go to Minnesota.
They had a chance to get Stephon Diggs because Trayvon's on the team, and they didn't get him, and he went down the street to Houston. And if he balls out in Houston this year, and CeeDee Lamb doesn't play, and they let him walk, that team is now crumbling, and you're missing out on Micah Parsons' prime, Dak Prescott's last decent year, Trayvon Diggs' prime.
And let's not forget, you still have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in football, and you're wasting Zach Martin's time. You're wasting whoever else is there, Ferguson, I believe. You're wasting all their time in that offensive line because they're getting older. If it's time to make a really good push at a championship, it's the last 3 years and the next 2 years for that offensive line.
I just don't think he's that committed. I don't know what they're doing.
The stadium is a sellout no matter what, no matter who they play. The TV rights are insane. So he's got the money, and he's sitting on all this money in revenue. I just don't think he really wants to win. I think at the end of the day, he's worried about his money and his bottom dollar.
Yeah.
If he can have a mediocre team and have a sellout every game, that's all he cares about.
He does not prioritize winning. He's just a businessman.
Yeah. Dallas is not going to win any championship as long as Jerry Jones is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
1,000% agree.
Yeah.
I feel like he is
guess
okay
what?
with his championships in the 90s, and now it's all about making money.
If CD is not re-signed and they don't make the playoffs, I guarantee you Mike McCarthy gets the blame. He's fired. Dak doesn't stay, and it's just a completely rebuild year next year.
Micah Parsons' contract is coming up, correct? Or did they already re-sign him?
I think they're going to re-sign him for sure. But I don't think...
If he has a choice, I don't think he stays.
Depends on how much money they throw at him.
I guarantee you he gets offered that wherever. So unless they have the right to where he has to sign with them, unless there's a higher competing offer, if the Cowboys don't match it, he's gone.
I read something where Jerry wants to franchise tag CD and then sign Dak this year and sign CD and Micah to a long-term deal next year.
He doesn't want to do that.
So how does it work in the NFL then? If he gets offered a franchise tag, he gets paid the most money for a receiver at his position this year. Does he have to play, or can he still turn down a franchise tag?
I think you have to play.
You have to play, right? Yeah. Only if he signs it. Does he have to sign a franchise tag?
I think if you don't sign the franchise tag, you have to retire. Like you can't go play for somebody else. I believe that's a situation.
Players can opt to not sign the franchise tag, as Bell did in 2018, but teams can also rescind and unsign. Okay, so yeah, you're right. They'd have to retire or hold out that year with no money until they become an unrestricted free agent.
Yep.
Wow. The tag is generally unpopular. Stars hoping to secure a long-term deal are restricted in their negotiations by the tag. Players don't have an official way to refuse.
Yep.
Almost that's almost like a prenup. Kind of. You don't get an option to like not take anything.
Well, it's almost like
all I have to. This is kind of funny, but all I know is that when I sign a franchise tag somebody in Madden, they don't want a long-term deal the year after.
I've never even looked at that. I know. I mean, like I know you get the most money that singular year, but it's like
for your position.
Yeah, there needs to be something, and I know there's been talks about it because of how unfair it is to the players. So, like, say, I think this was an issue with Saquon, and maybe why he didn't re-sign with the Giants in the first place is he was wanting a long-term deal, and they were like, "No, we're going to franchise tag you." And he's like, "Well, what if I get hurt? Then I'm franchised for this year, but I don't have a guaranteed deal. I'm basically playing with my career on the line and nothing guaranteed."
So,
So,
so Justin Jefferson right now is the highest paid NFL receiver in history and in the league. He's set to make $35 million this year. If CD is slapped with the franchise tag, he gets paid $36 million for just one NFL season. That's insane. It's I mean, I know you're playing risk with your career, but how could you not be okay with that? 36 million for one season?
would you rather have 36 million for one season or sit out, not make 16 or whatever is on his contract, sit out, prepare for the next season, become a free agent? He's still 25, 26. Get a 4-year, 5-year deal with a new team, and then by that time, it might even be the contract could be even higher, and you can make 40 million a year for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, you want short-term money now, or are you willing to sit out because you know you're that dude and get a 4-year contract the next year?
Oh man, there's just so much going on with CD Lamb right now. It's insane. The Patriots are pursuing him. The Browns are urged to trade for CD Lamb in a Nick Chubb proposal, in a wild Nick Chubb uh, trade rumor. Uh, I
I really hope he doesn't go to the Browns.
So Cowboys did offer something Saturday morning, but CD Lamb rejected a $33 million per year contract, saying that it's still not good enough. I didn't know that. I didn't know they offered him one this past week, and he offered it. Obviously, that's $2 million less than Justin Jefferson. Uh, the dude led the league in receiving last year in the NFL, got you to the first round of the playoffs. He didn't perform well in that playoff game, but neither did Dak. I don't think you measure him by that one playoff performance. Give him 35 million a year.
It's 2 million, dude.
I
2
don't
million.
understand. Um,
Like, I'm saying it's 2 million, like it's no big deal, but in comparison to NFL money,
and it's not like you're playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Cleveland Browns. You're playing with the team that has the highest everything in the NFL. No championships since '95, but they're worth like $4.5 billion. It's insane.
yep.
So um, I don't know. I'm a little frustrated. My anxiety is growing higher. Like it's not going to be a good year if they can't re-sign this dude.
Yeah. If he doesn't play the season, you might as well not even watch.
Yep. But Craig, we are in the week of college football. Like you said, Saturday it starts. Florida State at Georgia Tech. Um, Thursday, no,
Next Thursday.
no, that's next Thursday. This week, you have, like you said, Montana State at New Mexico, SMU at Nevada, Delaware State at Hawaii. So those are the games that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Um, Literally all day though. You got 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and a
Yep.
11 o'clock game.
A game per block all day.
Mm.
But Florida State and Georgia Tech are playing in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, interesting.
Do you like that?
No,
You're taking a home game away from who's the home team this year?
it would have been Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. I mean, that's a big time game for Georgia Tech. You're taking that away from them at home.
I like it. Okay, I like it in pro football. I don't like it in college.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, again, in the NFL or in pro basketball, football, whatever, they're professionals. They can, they can handle stuff like that. It's for the league. It's for the money. College football, man, you got some 18-year-olds, Mom and dad can't travel to your first game. It's in Ireland.
Well, now I bet you they can. Most of
Now,
them.
yeah,
These kids getting the NIL.
but still, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. Some
College,
college,
you only get 5 or 6 games a year.
yeah.
You take this away, that's 5 games a year. You're impacting the economy.
Now, but let's talk about also rankings. Let's talk about home field advantages in college
Yeah.
football. You're taking that away from Georgia. What if Georgia loses by 14, or what if Georgia State loses by three
Georgia
points?
Tech.
Yeah, what if Georgia Tech loses by 3 points? At
Home
home,
field could have made a difference.
at home they probably win by 10 then.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say 10, but it definitely matters in college. College more than by far more than the pros. Home field advantage matters. There's a reason it's a thing.
So let's go ahead and start with the 11 o'clock game. You got Delaware State at Hawaii. Hawaii is a 99.0% chance at winning. Man, Delaware State coming off a 5-game losing streak. Hawaii has won 3 out of the last 5. Who you got?
I think that's I'm not going to say easy, but Delaware State is a 1AA. They're in the MEAC, so they're not even Group of 5. They're below Group of 5. So, give me Hawaii by we'll say 14.
14.
Plus 14 plus.
Now I know this is going to be a little hard to keep track of, but Craig, you got games that we are going to see who is the overall best game picker by the end of the year.
Okay.
So Delaware State.
We'll make an official Excel sheet or something.
That's your homework. At Hawaii, I'm gonna go. You picked Hawaii by 14. I like Hawaii. It's in Hawaii. Perfect weather. I think they run.
Are we incorporating scores into our?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say then up me to like 28.
No. Right now it's just win-loss. We can give the scores, but it's just win-loss. You're going Hawaii. I'm going to go Hawaii as well. I say 35-3. Again, we're not including scores, but that's fun.
Yeah, I'll say like 35-14. I know that's more than 14, but I said 14 plus, so 35-14, 35-10, somewhere around there.
Next, you got SMU at Nevada.
Yeah.
The spread is 27. SMU is a 27-point favorite.
Newly acquired to the ACC.
That's probably why. SMU coming in hot, man. They've only lost 1 in the last 5. Nevada has lost the last 4 out of 5. Who you got?
Give me SMU big.
I believe that's a Texas school, brother, and I'm going SMU as well. Good old former national championship playing quarterback Garrett Gilbert played at SMU after he left Texas. Remember that guy?
I remember Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah.
Number 7 for Texas.
Yeah.
I believe it was.
Speaking of Texas quarterbacks, man, Colt McCoy retired from the NFL today after 14 seasons.
Did you see what his possibility is?
I saw that he was going to do some college football.
Big Ten on the CBS.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy doing Big Ten football. Does not sound right at all.
It doesn't, man. I would have even been okay if he's calling Big 12 football without Texas being in the thing.
Well, why couldn't he be on a B team for ESPN doing, SEC games at 3:30? I think, well, I haven't really heard him commentate a game, but dude's knowledgeable. All-time winningest quarterback at Texas. I believe he's got some sort of. I'd like to hear that old Southern accent on some ESPN.
Yeah, it would sound like Matthew McConaughey calling football, except he wouldn't be drunk.
You could put him and Greg McElroy in a booth together, and I bet you'd
Um,
be all right.
that would be that would be pretty fun. You can imagine the shit talking Colt. You imagine if I wouldn't get hurt that fucking national championship game.
Me and Mike Daddy Brown's about that.
You know, I'm happy for Colt McCoy, man. 14 years. I think going back 14 years ago, looking at that draft with Tebow, Sam Bradford, Colt McCoy, I gotta be the one honest with you. I don't think neither one of us thought he would have been the one playing as long as he did, even though it was a backup role and he was a solid backup.
I mean, when he came in backup time, the Washington Commanders, Redskins, whichever, he put mop up duty on them Cowboys.
Hey, he beat the Dallas Cowboys on a Monday Night Football one time.
By like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was a solid backup in the NFL.
Solid backup.
Yeah.
He's not going to be remembered for a lot of records or anything, but us folks around here are going to recognize him as a solid backup quarterback. If him and Bradford had swapped roles, maybe Bradford stays in as long as the league as he did, but playing behind that St. Louis Rams line back in 08, 09, none of us would have survived.
No. Jeff Fisher, again, another quarterback he so-called didn't want and ruined his career just like he ruined Vince Young's career.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, one more thing. I still would like to hear Colt McCoy call Big 12 football. I think that'd be cool. I still have some...
Big 12 or SEC?
Man, my heart says Texas and SEC, but I'd rather have him call Big 12 than Big 10.
Oh, 100%. 100% put him in Big 12 than Big 10. So, at least you're staying near Texas. Like, what's this Southern boy doing up here with these Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, I say that, but now Big 10's all the way in California.
Yeah. Quinn Ewers could win the SEC championship this year and still not fill Colt McCoy's shoes.
100%.
Yeah.
The ceiling for those Texas teams with Colt McCoy
national championship
far exceeds anything Texas has on the field.
Yeah.
Same thing with those Oklahoma teams. Those Oklahoma teams are superior to what's any
going
team.
On now. Yeah. Montana State at the University of New Mexico, the 3:00 game on FS1. I'm not too familiar with these two teams, but the big favorite is still New Mexico. What do you got?
Old New Mexico, I believe. That's basketball. Never mind. I was thinking of New Mexico for other reasons. Give me New Mexico just because they are Group of 5. Montana State, another thing like Delaware State, they're below that. So, give me New Mexico in a pretty solid game for them.
I think it'll be kind of close, but I'm going to go the University of New Mexico as well. I don't trust them. And something inside me wanted to pick Montana just because of old John Dutton and Yellowstone Park, but I'm not gonna go Montana.
I mean, Montana State, their last 5, they almost beat North Dakota State. We all know North Dakota State's one of them powerhouses up there. And New Mexico didn't look too good finishing off their season, not being able to score most of their games.
Yeah. Before we talk about the big game that I can't believe kicking off the weekend, I think it's due to it being in Ireland, though.
It's in Ireland. Yeah, that's the reason why.
So, man, before we get to, go ahead.
I was gonna start talking about the game. I thought we were.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Why not waste any more time? Florida State at Georgia Tech, Ireland, the 10th ranked Florida State Seminoles. Man, they won every game last year except the Georgia game. In that bowl game, they completely got annihilated 63-3. Let's talk about them for just a little bit before we do a prediction. Do you agree that they should have made it in the Final Four? Without even looking at the Georgia game, 63-3. Yeah, they lost their quarterback. but they went undefeated and they got snubbed. And if you agree that they should have got in, who should have not been selected in?
I think the right thing was done. Yes, it's a year body of work, but also it's you got to put in the best four teams. Um, Quarterbacks make college teams, plain and simple. Ever since, let's go, God, maybe 2012 might be the last time a running back has been the workhorse of a team that made it far, with maybe Leonard Fournette with LSU or something. Even though Mark Henry was pretty dang good, they still had AJ McCarron, I believe.
Mark Henry, world's strongest man.
Derrick Henry. Mark Henry's son is at Oklahoma now wrestling.
Yep.
But you take that quarterback out, the system all kind of halts. You're that late in the year. The backup wasn't that good, as we saw. They did the right thing because Bama was right there. Bama was right there. Even though Bama had a couple close calls with Auburn, that's a rivalry game. You can never count out Auburn in that game. But Florida State had a lot of close calls last year. If we're going to go that route, I remember they almost lost with Jordan Travis. You almost lose to Boston College. You almost lose to Clemson. You almost lose to Miami. You almost lose to Florida. And then you barely beat Louisville, who got absolutely smoked by the backup at USC. You know what I mean? So yes, I agree that they shouldn't have been in. As much as I love Florida State, like what they were last year, I think they were left out, rightfully so.
Even though you go undefeated, you win your conference championship, which is a Power 5 conference title, you don't think they should have let Alabama stay out because they lost to Texas at home, and then the following week they almost lose to a no-name team.
I mean, yes, they beat LSU week 1, but LSU was kind of they weren't sure where they were. Jaden Daniels was not Jaden Daniels Heisman winner week 1. Let's put it that way. You played a pretty soft schedule. Southern Miss, Boston College, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Syracuse.
Well, never mind.
A ranked Duke team.
My topic is completely gone. I forgot that Alabama won the SEC championship.
Alabama beat Georgia.
Yeah, I forgot that. I'm thinking Alabama was a non-conference. I'm already thinking Texas was in the SEC. I forgot they won the Big 12 title, not the SEC.
If there was only one team, in my opinion, that was going to jump Florida State, and that was if Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC, and they did, and that's the only team that could have jumped them, and they did.
Yep. Because if Georgia wins, you probably have Georgia.
If Georgia wins, Alabama drops out.
Georgia, Texas, Washington, Florida State,
and the next best team was Oregon.
No, Michigan. We forgot the team who won the whole thing.
Michigan, Georgia, Washington, Texas.
That's 4.
So I believe Texas would have been Michigan, Georgia.
If Georgia wins, you have another huge debate. Texas probably would have got left out. Or Washington. There's no way an undefeated Michigan team doesn't get in. And there's no way a one-loss SEC champion doesn't get in.
Yeah.
Or was Georgia? No, Georgia was undefeated.
So if Georgia wins, it's Georgia's number 1, Michigan's number 2.
Yep.
Washington's number 3 because they beat Oregon twice, so they had some pretty good ranked wins.
But the college football committee probably still would have put Texas in over Florida State because they dominated their championship game, and they still have their starting quarterback.
So maybe the only way Florida State gets in is if Washington loses to Oregon second time around and they split. Because I think Washington had a loss in their 2 losses. Maybe they only had I can't remember. It was last year, but either way, Florida State wasn't going to get in my opinion. I think a complete team is needed to even remotely consider beating Georgia. So yeah, Michigan, Alabama, Washington, Texas. Georgia beats Alabama, they're in. So there's a spot that's taken. So you either have to leave out Texas or Washington. And Texas beat Alabama, so then, but
Yep.
It is what it is. I think Georgia showed exactly what would have happened to Florida State if they had the playoffs. The whole we weren't ready because it wasn't the playoff thing, BS. There's you weren't ready. You didn't remotely play them good because yes, you didn't have a quarterback. So that's exactly what would have happened against any other of the 4 teams.
I'm sure we'll talk about Alabama a little bit more next week. Who's the coach again? Dabo Swinney didn't come to Alabama, did he?
Kalen DeBoer from Washington.
Ugh.
He's got like a .90 winning record in Division I football. He's pretty good as a head coach.
I don't know why I thought for some reason Dabo Swinney left Clemson.
Nope, he's still there. He might leave after this year if they don't turn things around.
I could see Dabo Swinney in Alabama. I don't know why I dreamed about it.
He was very closely tied to it. I think he graduated from Alabama.
Yeah. I would have liked to see him in Alabama. I don't know why. I think he would have been like the perfect person to come after Nick Saban.
He would have been.
I'm honestly still surprised, but after watching or listening to Nick Saban being on a podcast, you can tell he didn't like the public NIL deals. He didn't like the college football playoffs.
Everything was even now.
Everything's just changing out. Yeah,
everything was even. He couldn't compete.
He was just an old school college football coach.
Yeah, I think the whole thing of negotiating instead of just recruiting kind of threw him off.
You know who another name is? I'm surprised I did not hear Bob Stoops' name come up at all.
Bob Stoops declined. He declined everything.
Is he that happy in the XFL? The Rock must be paying him some good money.
He's happy that it's not year round.
Oh, okay.
He comes in, he does the season, he goes home. It was close. He got to watch Drake's games.
Coaching in Arlington, he's not that far from Oklahoma, Norman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I guess I heard that if Drake Stoops doesn't get a deal by the this year, I heard he's got an option to go play for his dad out there.
If Drake doesn't get picked up, it's going to be a shame because he showed in that he's not your get away from the cop speed kind of guy.
Yeah, he's he's going to be like a good Wes Welker slot.
If you want somebody who's going to be able to get you a solid reception and get you 5 or 6, maybe break it off for a 15, 20-yarder here and there, dude's got amazing hands. He's put in the work. He knows what he has to do, and he's done it.
I heard he's shooting for a practice squad, but if he doesn't get signed to a practice squad by September, he's going to go play for the XFL.
I think he's a perfect fit for the Rams. Learning under Cooper Kupp and Sean McVay, I think that system fits him. Practice squad would be, probably, I think, where he settles, but he could squeeze into a rotation here and there.
I don't know, man. I think it would be a shame too if he doesn't get picked up by a practice squad.
Yeah.
I think you got until week 1 or week 2, but who knows? We'll see. Man, a lot of stuff going around, so it'll be fun. But let's give our predictions. Florida State supposedly at Georgia, but again, it is an Ireland game in Dublin. Who you got, man?
Do you know who Florida State's quarterback is?
Florida State's quarterback.
Don't look it up.
I don't.
DJ Uiagalelei. Former Clemson, went to Oregon State.
Alagunaway.
Passing got a lot better at Oregon State. Commander of the game got a lot better at Oregon State.
He's been playing now in college for like 8 years.
It feels like it. I think Florida State lost too much I think he's a different style quarterback than Jordan Travis is. And Georgia Tech is damn hard to beat on college football video games. So give me Georgia Tech by 7.
Georgia Tech, man. Everything inside my bones is wanting to pick against Florida State. I know there's a lot of people going to be upset about me. But I got to go with if they were in Georgia, I was probably going to go with Georgia Tech because it would have been, I think, the OTC, the original tribal chief Roman Reigns would have been there. I think he would have got them hyped up. But you know what? I'm going to go with Florida State. I think DJ Alabagunaway is going to be fantastic in this game. I think he is what they need on the road in Ireland, a seasoned quarterback. I think he sneaks past this Ireland crowd. I think they win by 10. I'm going to do the opposite. So I think Florida State wins by 10.
Florida State spread is 11. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State wins, but something in me when I saw this, I was like, I think there's something brewing at Georgia Tech, man. I think there's something brewing at Georgia Tech. I think they're on the right path. They just got a 5-star the other day. I think they got something brewing there, man. They may not win this game, but keep an eye out for Georgia Tech in the future.
So before we say our goodbyes and talk about what's coming up next week, here's a little message from Rodeo Cinema.
Hello, my name is Brad Chad Porter. I'm the general manager at Rodeo Cinema. I want to talk to you for a few seconds about the Rodeo Cinema Foundation membership program. Rodeo Cinema is Oklahoma City's only nonprofit movie house. We depend on your support beyond your tickets and concessions purchases to keep the lights on and to continue bringing you outstanding film programming. We ask you to consider becoming a member. There are several memberships to choose from, with prices ranging from $50 per year to $5,000 per year. Check out your options at rodeocinema.org/memberships. Thank you in advance for your support.
All right, man. Any other things you want to talk about? I know preseason's almost done. NFL season is getting ready to continue, which we'll have some NFL predictions here. Not next week, but the Monday after. Next week is probably going to be all college football. So I think now this is I can't hear you, but I think now this is going to be all undefeated or all Mondays. Get ready to talk some college football next week too.
Every Monday.
So,
other than that, I think we're good. Covered a lot of stuff today. Went for a good solid hour, I believe. So, other than that, man, college football is here. Game week, as we say. Game week. Game week.
Don't forget, guys, tomorrow we continue a 24-month right here on the movie side of things. He's the man of your dreams. He's Nicolas Cage. We talk Dream Scenario tomorrow, 7 p.m. on another new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Wednesday, don't forget, Friday the 14th podcast, we are talking all about Knock at the Cabin. So that's a little horror adventure on the Peacock if you want to go check it out. Dream Scenarios on HBO Max. Man, until next Monday, we'll see who comes out victorious on all those predictions, and we'll have a whole nother list of new predictions on another new sports podcast next Monday as we talk college football predictions week 1, man.
All right.
See everybody next week. Have a good week. Hook 'em.
Later. See ya.